Okay, let's talk about one of the most insane scaling stories I've seen in a long time. This is about how Cash App found themselves staring down the barrel of a single database that grew to a size that is, frankly, terrifying.
First, you got to wrap your head around the scale here. We're not talking about a big database. We're talking about a single 400 terabyte monster. To put that into perspective for you, that is like having the entire text of Wikipedia 1,000 times over sitting in one database table. It's just absurd.
And this thing isn't just sitting there collecting dust. Oh no, it is getting hammered with 4 million queries every single second. Think about it. Millions of people all at once sending money, buying Bitcoin, checking their balance. The load is just relentless.
Look, the engineers who had to live with this thing, they put it best. A simple select R, a command that's totally harmless on any normal database, would have been a nuclear event here. It just perfectly captures the kind of raw, dangerous power they were trying to keep on a leash. Now here's the kicker. Any sane team, any scene engineer facing this kind of nightmare would have ditched SQL and run screaming for the NoSQL hills, right? That's what the playbook says. But Cash App, they did the opposite. They decided to stick with good old reliable relational MySQL and somehow make it do the impossible. This is that story.
So how in the world did they get into this mess in the first place? Well, let's take a trip back in time to an era the engineers probably have nightmares about. They call it the Godbox era. See, back in 2013, Cash App was just a simple little peer-to-peer payment app. One database? No problem. But then the features started piling on. First Bitcoin, then stocks, then direct deposits. And with every single new feature, the load on that one database just grew and grew and grew.
And this is the absolute core of the problem. The app had turned into a bank, and when you're dealing with people's actual money, you need absolute, undeniable truth right now. That means you need ACID transactions that guarantee that things are atomic, consistent, isolated, and durable. There is zero room for this eventual consistency nonsense you hear about. That's just a fancy way of saying your money might show up eventually.
This quote from the team says it all, doesn't it? They were just throwing the biggest, most expensive hardware they could find at the problem, knowing it was a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. The system was groaning and the clock was ticking.
So what they built, the thing that kept them up at night, was a classic God box. It's an engineering sin. One massive, all-powerful server holding the entire company hostage. If that one box trips over a power cord, the whole thing goes dark. It's a total nightmare.
Okay, so they were in a world of hurt. They needed a way out, a way to break free from this single server dependency, and their first major move was to bring in a solution called Vitess.
Now, the whole idea behind Vitess is something called sharding, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You take that giant monolithic beast of a database and you just shatter it. You break it into hundreds of tiny, much more manageable little pieces called shards. Each one is way faster and way easier to deal with.
So how does this actually work? Well, you can think of Vitess as a super smart traffic cop for all your database queries. When your app sends a request, Vitess jumps in front of it. It takes a quick look at the user ID, figures out which one of those hundreds of tiny database shards that user's data lives on, and zips the query only to that specific shard. It's brilliant.
And the result? It was a complete architectural transformation. That 400 terabyte monster was gone. Poof! In its place, they had 400 zippy little 1 terabyte shards, all neatly organized by Vitess. They had done it. They had solved the problem. Or, so they thought.
Of course, in our line of work, you solve one problem and 10 more pop up to say hello. Just when they thought they could finally get some sleep, the real world decided to throw them a massive curveball, and it uncovered a brand new, totally unexpected weakness.
And that curveball? The 2020 government stimulus checks in the US. Millions and millions of Americans got a direct deposit on the exact same day. And guess what a lot of them did? They opened up Cash App to see their money.
The result was just chaos. We're not talking a little bump in traffic. We're talking a 300% spike almost instantly. It was this massive, unprecedented tidal wave of activity slamming into their servers, and it pushed their brand new, carefully designed system to a totally different breaking point.
And here's the thing, the CPUs were fine. Sharding took care of that. No, the new wall they slammed into was way more fundamental. It was the actual physical speed of the hard drives themselves. We measure this in IOPS, input/output operations per second. Basically, it's how many times a disk can read or write data in 1 second.
So why was this even an issue? I mean, it's the cloud, right? It's supposed to be infinite. Well, here's the dirty little secret. In most cloud setups, your storage isn't actually plugged into your server. It's attached over the network. And networks have speed limits. The traffic spike was so huge, Cash App was literally trying to write data faster than the network could physically move it.
Their solution to this was bold. It was counterintuitive, and honestly, it was a pretty fascinating lesson in getting back to basics. They went for bare metal.
Yep. In an industry where everyone is tripping over themselves to move to the cloud, these guys made the absolutely shocking move to migrate their entire system off the generic cloud and onto a managed service with dedicated physical servers. And this slide right here shows you exactly why this was the answer. They traded that slow network storage for blazing fast NVMe drives plugged directly into the motherboard. They also got rid of noisy neighbors, other customers on the same shared cloud hardware, and got their own dedicated, isolated machines. And the effect was immediate. It was profound. With the storage directly attached, that network lag just vanished. The hard limit on disk speed, that IOPS wall that almost brought them to their knees, it just wasn't a problem anymore.
So, after all this chaos, all this firefighting, what's the big lesson here? What's the final verdict?
They proved that you don't always have to abandon the safety and the rock-solid consistency of a relational database to hit insane scale. You just have to be clever, and sometimes you have to put it on the right hardware. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this industry's obsession with chasing the next new shiny thing, are we sometimes forgetting just how much power we can wring out of the battle-tested tools we already have?